Welcome back to another Sunday Coffee Talk. I'm Chad, by the way. Welcome back to Live Life on Your Terms, just in case you're new here. And remember, on every Sunday, I always do a Sunday Coffee Talk. I am in Thailand right now, so I live in Thailand, and I go back and forth between Thailand and the United States. So this is actually Sunday morning for me. So I actually do the authentic coffee talk. So it's Sunday morning in Thailand. By the time I post it, it's Sunday morning inside the United States, East Coast time for you guys. So, and another thing before we get started here is we always have the super thanks spotlight. That's where you leave a super thanks, but you attach a question with that. Questions around manifesting success, even marketing and sales. How as far as being an entrepreneur, because that's what we're going to talk about today. So what happens with a super thanks spotlight? You can do a super thanks, then leave a question within that. Then when I get that, then I will discuss that question or what you need to know, what you want more information on in the next Sunday Coffee Talk. So that's how that works. But anyway, this has been an interesting week. Let me take a sip of coffee. My mind's kind of in business mode today, so I thought it was kind of good to kind of sit down and talk about entrepreneurship, talk about SEO, talk about YouTube SEO, especially since we're on YouTube. And SEO for me, it really gets tied into everything. It's just SEO. I've been doing it for a long, long time, and I started off in business, marketing, and sales before digital marketing, working online was popular. So I have a very unique experience that most people don't have. When most people go into digital marketing, they have no business experience whatsoever. When most people go into SEO, they have no business experience whatsoever. They never even built a business. They never worked for a company building a business. They never built an account. And that's where I kind of have a little issues with, is because you kind of need that experience. Okay. You need that experience how to build a brand. You need that experience how to run a team, how to manage a team. You need that experience of, how to recruit people back in the old school days where you're talking and recruiting, because you learn flipping a lot when you're in recruiting sales. I mean, it all relates. Okay. Because when you look at SEO, YouTube SEO, it's not just about, you listen to me, it's not just about ranking. It's not just about trying to rank my website on the first page of Google. Okay. It's not, when you flip over to YouTube, it's not just about trying to get a video to go viral. Okay. We'll talk about this in a second here. There's other things that basically play a major role in SEO. And what I love about SEO is SEO, especially when you work for a company, like with SEO, you have to know pretty much everything. Like if you work in the marketing department, you have to know everything. Okay. You even have to scatter over to the sales department. And because you have to know sales, you have to know copywriting, you have to know how to talk. Okay. You have to know the product. You know what I mean? That's why sometimes you have to walk over to the sales department and either talk to the sales director or talk to the top salesman, because you got to learn more about the product so you can actually do the copywriting for that product inside the website and stuff like that. So you need to know, for an SEO person, you really need to know a lot. And for some of you watching this, you might sit there and say, well, Chad, if you work for a big company, they're going to have a person only do SEO, only do marketing, only do digital marketing, only do copywriting. They're going to hire, a programmer to build the website and do all this stuff. And I'm just talking about my own experience. Okay. Working for companies that do that, working for marketing agencies that say and try to promote they have a big team. It's usually a pain in the ass. I'll tell you, when they have a whole bunch of people doing a whole bunch of different things, it sounds great in the grand scheme of things, but when you're actually on the inside, it can really be a pain in the ass. Like, if I'm used to doing copywriting and I got to shoot my copywriting over to the copywriting person, which has less experience than me, I'm pretty much basically micromanaging the copywriter. I'm micromanaging the software engineer building a website, but he's basically, I got to spoon feed him information. He's just doing exactly what I tell him. You get me on that, So I'm basically spoon feeding him, micromanaging him, telling him to change, simple things, but I can just go in and change myself. You get me, and that's where it becomes a pain in the ass. A little bit when things are spread across multiple people, but I don't want to go into that because that's not really going to help you out here. But when we actually dive into SEO here, what I really want to talk about is, one, this is a coffee talk. Okay, this is the casual conversation. Okay, I'm drinking a cup of coffee. I'm not going to show you how to do anything in this video, but I don't need to show you how to do anything. Okay, and if you're really serious about learning business, branding, and SEO, you're going to stick around. This is the deal with YouTube SEO, especially on YouTube. And it relates 100% if you're trying to rank your stuff on the first page of Google, try and rank your personal business website on the first page of Google. So it's identical in a way. There's a difference, of course, but it's pretty much the same thing. Now with YouTube SEO, the reason why I wanted to make this video was kind of in the back of my head because I always get emails. I always get, just when I open up my email, it's always emails that somebody wants to do my SEO. Somebody wants to tear apart a video. And usually when they tear apart a video, I can tell they're new at SEO. I can tell they're even new at marketing because they're using vidIQ or TubeBuddy to basically give me the stats. And they all focus on like, well, if you use better video tags, then your video will get more views and it will rank higher on YouTube, and that video might go viral. Okay. Let me tell you something right now that you might agree with, disagree with. It's all bullshit. Okay. It's all bullshit. Let me tell you the truth here. All the SEO in the world, I'm talking about YouTube here. All the SEO in the world is not going to make a video go viral. Period. Let me say that one more time. Maybe you had a heart attack. Okay. Maybe you fell over when I said this. Listen, all the SEO in the world is not going to make a video go viral. Bottom line. Okay. Now, when I say that, you might sit there and think, well, Chad, okay, continue on. I want to see where you're going with this. Okay, listen to me. Okay, I'm not saying basic SEO is you don't need to do it. I'm not saying you don't need to go in and come up with a really on fire title and a thumbnail and your matching. This is all basic stuff I'm giving you. Then we're going to talk advanced. I'm going to talk what you need to be doing. Okay, but let's get through this basic stuff in like 1 minute here. Okay, most people get caught up in all basic SEO and they think they're a flipping SEO expert. Okay, this is how you do basic SEO. This is what I want you to do. You have to do it. Okay, no matter if I'm saying it's not going to rank you, it's not going to help. It's not going to help a video go viral at all. Okay, but you still have to do it, and I'll give you the reason why here in a second. Is you have to have an on fire title. Okay, that's a whole nother different skill, a whole nother different skill set. You know what I mean? Okay, you have to have a badass thumbnail. Okay, now when you save your thumbnail title, your how you save it needs to be the title of your YouTube video. So when you upload your thumbnail, it's the same title. It's just not a random 1, 2, 3, 4 ABCD type of title. Same way when you upload your video to YouTube. Okay, give your video file an actual name, and that name should be the same reflection of your title of the YouTube video, so everything matches. But that way when it's uploading, what you're doing is helping the algorithm figure out what your video is about. Okay, other than that, you're basically going down through. Okay, you're doing your video tags. Okay, tags in general, even across social media, even the CEOs of company. I think there was the CEO, I think it was Instagram, basically said with Instagram that when you use hashtags and stuff like that, it doesn't even matter anymore. which is basically true. Now, does that mean you don't do it? No, you still got to do it. Okay. And so this is all basic SEO. Okay. Let's get through this basic SEO shit. Okay. This is all basic stuff. But you have to do the basics. Okay. Even if the basics isn't going to make a video go viral, but you have to do the basics. This is the reason why. Okay. And this is my strategy. I'm going to share with you my secret sauce here. My strategy is you have to build the ecosystem. You understand? You have to build the ecosystem, okay? It's not about going viral. It's about building your ecosystem. Hopefully that makes sense. What do I mean by that? Is when you go to my YouTube channel, okay? Now, the biggest thing I'm going to get is, well, Chad, I don't know if I can trust you because you have a small channel. Like if you knew what you were talking about, you would have a bigger channel. It's going back to that same philosophy of if you were really good at SEO, you would go viral. Okay. Doesn't work. Like I'm saying, it doesn't work like that. Bottom line, period. Okay. Oh, makes sense? And once I share with you kind of advanced SEO strategies, building the ecosystem, you're gonna know why in the beginning I didn't want to go viral. I'll be honest with you. Okay. That's the truth. I didn't want to go viral in the beginning. Let me tell you a story. I have a good friend here in Thailand, and we've been friends for a few years. He lives in Pattaya, and he started a YouTube channel, and he had a video go viral. Okay. It was probably a rock and roll video. It's probably one of the first videos in Thailand that went viral. Okay. He just made the right video at the right time, the right title, the right thumbnail. Everything was just perfect in the video. And for that time, everything just the right time, right? It was just perfect. Okay. It went viral. And I mean viral, 1 million views viral, not viral for your channel, truly viral, 1 million views in a short period of time. Okay. But he didn't have his ecosystem built. Okay. When he went viral, on his channel at that time, he only had maybe 3 videos or 4 videos. So imagine this. Okay. He did this video. It goes viral. People's really excited about this video. They shoot over to his channel and he only has 3 videos there. I mean, have you ever done that? I mean, I've done it where you're super excited. You see an awesome video and you actually, even if I'm watching YouTube on TV, I actually click on their channel because I want to watch more of their content. When you go over there, that's the only video they had. And you kind of bummed out. You're like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Because they didn't have the ecosystem built. Okay. It's all about the ecosystem, baby. Okay. You get me on that. You get where I'm going with this. Okay. This is why I'm kind of glad I didn't go viral in the beginning. I'm kind of glad I didn't go viral yet because it gave me time to build the ecosystem on top of building my SEO. Okay, with every video, I always do basic SEO, like I just explained. But what I did do, what I mean by the ecosystem, listen, what I mean by the ecosystem, this is what I did. When I came back to YouTube, before I started building the ecosystem, you really have to know what your branding is. I go, that's the hardest thing with branding. Branding is your voice. Okay. Branding is tricky. Branding, there's no secret sauce to branding. Okay. Branding is, if you have a strong brand, the reason why people want to follow you or follow your brand is because they want to be part of something. They want to stand for something and they like what your company, your brand stands for. Makes sense. And they want to be part of that. They want to be part of the tribe. Okay. And how do you get there? How do you discover your own brand? Okay. This is the stuff that nobody wants to talk about. This is the stuff that nobody wants to give you because this is just pure work. This is on YouTube. This is just me back in 2003 saying, hey, I'm going to get back on YouTube. I'm going to do some videos. My goal back then was just to stay consistent. That's it. That was my only goal. Stay consistent with it. Throw up consistent videos. That's it. That was my only goal back in 2003 when I came back to YouTube. Okay. And at the time, I didn't know what I really wanted to focus on. I knew I wanted to focus on wealth, health, and prosperity. I knew I was really big into manifesting and success development. That's what I've always been into my whole entire life. And so I thought, I'll just start doing videos on that. And so long story short, I didn't know what my brand was. I just started throwing up content because this is what you guys got to listen to. No matter if you're on YouTube, no matter if you're building a company, no matter if you're building a website, okay? I'm just doing content. I'm just throwing up content, making videos. And of course, you get better at it. You get better at explaining things. You get better at sometimes like hook stories and offers. You get better at doing a hook in the beginning and stuff like that. I mean, you just get better at it. And I'm not saying I'm great at it. I have my own personality in my videos, but my channel's is really in a different niche. It's really into how to manifest, how to live life on your terms. So some of my videos can be winded because I'm coaching you in the videos. But I did this for a long. I did this for a long time. And one day I woke up and I figured out my brand because I figured out, like in some of my videos, I kept on saying, live life on your terms. It's all about living life on your terms. It's all about doing what you want to do and positioning yourself so you can do it. And one day I woke up and I called it. I was like, dude, that's my brand. That's my voice. Okay. Once I figured that out, I immediately started building the ecosystem. You see what I did? I wasn't building the ecosystem in the beginning. The only thing I was doing in the beginning is creating content, and I was doing basic SEO and throwing up videos, okay? Throwing up thumbnails and stuff like that. And over time, you get better at titles. You get better at making thumbnails yourself. So everything starts to improve, okay? But once I figured out my voice, once I figured out the brand I really want to run with, that's when I started work on the ecosystem, okay? I'm going to share with you the ecosystem here. So what I do, let's focus on YouTube first. So what I did was, once I knew my brand was live life on their terms, I immediately went back, and this took several months. This isn't in 1 week. This took a while. I went back, I changed on my YouTube homepage. I changed my banner image. My banner image now reflects live life on your terms. I actually changed my welcome video. So I filmed a whole new video on live life on your terms. I created a YouTube membership for the tribe. Okay. Now, if you want to be part of the tribe, the link is in the description, of course. But for the tribe, now that's for exclusive content. So what we talk about for living life on your terms. Then I created, the video took a while because I have to be in the mood to do that stuff. Okay. But remember, in the past, I just started making all this content. Okay. So this is a secret here is when I started making all this content, I had all these flipping videos. So I basically went back and I kind of enhanced all my playlists. So I had all these playlists. So then I put the main playlist on my home page. So it's kind of organized on my home page. So when you go to my home page on YouTube, it's organized through my playlist. So basically look at it this way: like a playlist. When you build an ecosystem on a playlist, I'm really sharing the secret with you here, okay? And the only thing you got to do is flip and watch this flipping video. And the big thing I learned with working in recruiting sales back in 2003, working in recruiting sales in 2003 to 2007-ish, 2008, something like that. I actually worked with Ed Milet. I worked with Ed Milet. I worked with John Shin. There's another big name on YouTube I've worked with for 4 years, but I forget his name right now. It might come to me, but it's not really important. But the biggest thing I learned in recruiting sales, even Ed Milet, John Shin would always say, when you recruit, when you're building passive income, they would always say, go wide, go deep. Go wide, go deep. That's the only advice I would give you. Go wide, go deep. You're trying to figure out the secret sauce of something. But after a while, you start learning the secret to things is rather simple. Okay, you're looking for this real difficult answer. All they're telling me is, Chad, go wide, go deep. What do they mean by go wide, go deep in recruiting sales? Okay, go wide means your personal recruits. You're personally recruiting. So you're going wide. Going deep is once you recruit a personal recruit, you help them recruit. Then you help that person recruit. You help that person recruit. So you're going deep in one leg. That's what it means go wide, go deep. So what I did on YouTube, I did the same philosophy. I went wide and went deep. How did I do it? I went wide with my playlist and I went deep with video content inside my playlist. What does that mean? The long story short, I kept on creating flipping content. Okay, so now I got a lot of content on my YouTube channel. Okay, so I went wide, went deep. Okay, another thing I did was to build out. You see what I'm saying about the ecosystem. So basically, what I mean by the ecosystem, when somebody comes to your video, there's other resources for them to get in contact with you. Make sense? Maybe it's product, maybe it's free stuff, whatever. Okay, there's other resources to get in contact. That's your ecosystem. So from there, when you go to the YouTube homepage, everybody has links. So then, so I think I got 5 links on my YouTube channel right now. If I can remember them, I'll give them to you right now. The first one is join the tribe. That's my YouTube membership. That's exclusive content only for tribe members here on YouTube. Right now I have it only on YouTube. We might move it in the future, but right now it's on YouTube. Okay, I got that link. That's right on YouTube. You don't leave the platform. Okay, my second link is my Stand Store link. That's my Work with Chad link. Okay, then that flips you over to the Stand Store. That's how to work with me personally. Okay, my third link is, I believe, my personal website. And what I did with my personal website, remember, I kind of started explaining my website, then I stopped and I kind of went back. My website, I always had my website. I had chadnapier.com. I don't even know, for 20 years. That's why nobody can take chadnapier.com, because I've had it forever. Okay, but it was off-brand. Okay, it was really old content, off-brand. I knew people were going over there and clicking on my website, but if they go over there, it's like a confusing mess. So then I had to spend a lot of time to go over and actually rebuild my website. I mean, I know how to do that. I don't have to hire anybody. So that's what I did. I went back to my website, my personal website. I revamped it to match my brand over on YouTube. So my personal website right now is basically a hub. Okay, it's a hub of all my services, all my products. It's a hub of live life on your terms. Basically a hub. I also kind of revamped it. Every once in a while, I shoot out a blog about a YouTube video. That's another ecosystem where on my YouTube videos, I'm attaching my YouTube videos to blogs. Okay. No, sometimes weekly I come out with a blog, but I pretty much do it when I feel like it. That's just how I roll. Okay. But anyway, I revamped my website to match my brand. Listen, match my brand over to YouTube. So everything matches. My fourth link, I believe it was my Amazon, because I got books on Amazon. So that takes you to my Amazon homepage. It's the books I wrote, years ago. My fifth link is buy me a coffee, because I was just in that mood to put it up there. Since I lived in Thailand, it wasn't so much buy me a coffee. It was, if you like my content, if you're just sitting there watching for free, you can buy me a coconut. You know what I mean? I might remove that link down the road, but I was in that playful mood, so I put it up there. Okay, but you see what I'm doing? I'm building out the ecosystem. Okay, if people's on YouTube, okay, if they go to the links or they go to my description, now my description I've enhanced over time. Okay, so if you shoot my description, the same things in my description. Okay, or if you happen to fall on my website for farts and giggles, not YouTube, it's going to be the same thing. When you hit my website, it's going to be a hub of my services. There's things to stay on my website, but that's what builds authority, credibility and authority, and builds ranking. Again, it builds SEO ranking. The more people spend on your website, that's what builds ranking. Okay, not people bouncing off your website. They spend 1 second, they bounce off. The longer they stay, it builds more authority. Then that's what moves you up the ranks on the search engines. one thing that moves you up the ranks on the search engines. Okay, so no matter where they go, you know, it's still going to shoot them over to YouTube. It's still going to shoot them over to the tribe. You see what I'm saying? Then what I did, now these aren't links I put anywhere. I went across all my social media platforms, changed all the banners on my social media platforms to live life on your terms. I usually social media, you can only put one link. Some of them you can put a couple links, but most social media you only can put one business link in there. So most of the time I use my personal website, just because my personal website is the hub of everything. So I'm using my personal website as a hub. That's what I mean by the ecosystem, baby. Is when people come to YouTube, there's more things to do rather than nothing. You get me on that. So let's spin this around. In the beginning of the video, I said, you know, I was kind of glad I didn't go viral so fast. I was kind of glad for it. The reason why is because, like my friend example, that he went viral on one video. When his channel was new, he only had 3 or 4 videos up there when one video went viral. And it really went viral, 1 million views, over 1 million views here in Thailand. But he had no ecosystem. He didn't have a big channel. So like, this is how I look at being viral. What viral should do, when you have a video go viral, that's like a spark. Okay. Your ecosystem is like a forest. Okay. I built like a forest. Like when you go to my YouTube channel, it's like a giant rainforest, okay, without the rain. And when you have a video go viral, the viral creates a spark, and that spark creates a forest fire. That's how I love to explain it. It's because what you're doing is, when you build the proper ecosystem, and all smart brands do this, when you build a smart ecosystem, what you're doing is that your ecosystem isn't going to help you go viral. You have to understand this. This is why I said in the beginning, all the SEO in the world isn't going to make a video go viral. But you still do SEO. Okay, you still do all the basic SEO. You're building out your ecosystem, which includes SEO and copywriting and all that jazz inside there. But what you're doing is you're setting up the moment. You're setting up a perfect moment where listen to this, when a video goes viral, you're basically taking the opportune moment, or you're taking advantage of it, because you have to understand this is just natural sales numbers. If you have a video listen to this, you have a video go viral, let's say it's truly viral, it's 1 million views. So even if you have no trust and credibility in the market because you're too new, okay, that's just true. You know, you need trust and credibility in the market for these numbers to go up. So let's use a 1%. Okay, let's say you get 1 million views. What's 1% out of 1 million? Okay, so 10% out of 1 million would be 100,000. 1% out of 10,000. 1% out of 100, it would be 10,000. So 1% out of 1 million views is 10,000. Listen to this. Okay, this is why it's so important to have an ecosystem. When I have a video go viral, 1 million views, 1% of people out of 1 million, that's 10,000 people. 10,000 people, 100% will subscribe to my channel, literally almost overnight. So overnight, you could have 10,000 subscribers. Okay, now this 1%, could be higher. It could be 2%, 3%, 4%. But I'm saying at 1. Okay, 1's a good number. When you move up to 2, 3, and 4, it really means you have trust and credibility in the marketplace. It really means that you've been around, people know you, or people know your face, they've watched your content. That's when you kind of go up in these numbers, 2%, 3%, 4%, okay, 5%, something like that. But when you're new, you know, it's pretty safe to do a 1%, okay? That means that I have 10,000 subscribers overnight, okay? Now, you're going to have another group, okay? You're going to have another 1%. Now, this 1%, 10,000 people, isn't going to subscribe to you, okay? They're not going to subscribe, but they like the video because it's viral. They like your content. So what they're going to do is they're going to click on your channel. So you're gonna have 10,000 people click on your channel. They're not gonna subscribe, but they're binge watching other videos. You get me on that. Now all of a sudden you got 10,000 people inside your flipping channel binge watching other content. This is why I said it was so important. Go wide, go deep. Keep on creating content, because the more content you have, the more chances everything becomes bingeable. Okay, you got a lot of content. When your channel becomes a viral moment, there's going to be certain 1% of people is going to binge watch your stuff. Out of 1,000,000, that's 10,000. Let me take a sip. My throat's getting scratchy. So it's not over with yet. This is why I said the ecosystem builds the forest fire. That it's not flipping over. Okay. Now, when a video goes viral and you have a big channel, okay. Now with me, I have a big channel, but it's small as far as subscribers. Okay, but a lot of content. Okay, when you're in that situation, a lot of people make fun of it. Oh, you don't know what you're doing. But I'm in the perfect moment. You get me? I've set it up. I'm in the perfect moment, because when a video goes viral, a viral video will pull other videos with it. So you can have one viral video, and if it's inside a big channel, you could have multiple viral videos that spark from this one viral video. Or you could have this one viral video and you have many semi-viral videos that get pulled with it. There's always videos that get pulled with this viral video. Okay, but it really only works when you have a big channel. I mean a big channel, not subscribers, a big channel as far as content. Okay, because you went wide with your playlist and you went deep in your playlist. You got to listen to this. Okay, it doesn't stop, baby. So now we have another 1% category. Okay, now first we did the 1% of the subscribers. You have 1% of people that don't subscribe, but they're binge watching. They're on your channel. They're searching for other content that you made. So they're binge watching. That's what's going to pull other videos up to viral, semi-viral, or just do really, really well. So that's going to push your channel up to a higher level. That's going to alert the YouTube algorithm that it's pushing your whole channel. It's just not one video. It's pushing your whole channel of authority. Okay, that's what you want. Okay, you want credibility and authority. You want the algorithm to look at your channel as authority. Okay, that's when things flipping get crazy. Okay, now you're going to have another 1% out of 1,000,000 people. Out of this viral video, 1,000,000 views, you got 10,000 people. Remember, I built the ecosystem. So you're going to have a 1% of people out of 1,000,000, okay, 10,000, that actually click on my description. They go to my home. They might not subscribe, okay, but they click on the description and look at my description. They look at other things I'm doing, okay. They might go to the home page of YouTube and I'll have my links there, okay. What I'm saying is you're going to have 1% of people, that 10,000 people, that basically they look up, they see my be part of the tribe. They see my work with Chad. They see my personal website. They might click over to my personal website, see everything there. They might click on my Amazon bookstore. They might, you see what I'm saying? You're going to have 10,000 people that click on that ecosystem you built. And again, now, not 10,000. You might not get 10,000 people that join the tribe overnight, but you're going to have another small percentage of that. Makes sense? So that's what the ecosystem is there for. That's why you have to build the ecosystem. You guys are so flipping. When you talk about business on YouTube, you guys are so flipping focused on going viral. You're forgetting to build the ecosystem. Bottom line, okay. And like I told you in the beginning, it's hard to build the ecosystem when you don't know your brand. It's hard to build the ecosystem when you don't know your voice, what your channel stands for. Okay, but you only find that by just making content and staying with it and not quitting, standing in the fire. Okay, you're not giving up. You just keep on creating until you figure it out yourself. Until you wake up one day, like I told you, I woke up one day and I was like, I always say live life on your terms in my videos. You know what I mean? And that's what basically sparked the ecosystem, because that made my brand. That's made the voice of the brand, and I ran with it. Now, where did I learn all this stuff? I worked with some uh, huge companies. I don't want to say influencers because I never really worked. Some of them are influencers now, like Ed Milet, but he back in the day, he was a business guy, dude. I mean, he was a business guy with World Group Securities. He was a senior executive vice chairman over there. Because I worked with him. I worked with him for 4 years. Okay. He was a business guy. He was a sales guy. He worked in sales. That's what he did. So so what so what I learned with working with these huge companies, these huge brands, is that they just stay in the game. They just keep on making content. Okay. Even Gary Vee says this, but most people don't walk away with it. Okay. When his dad had his wine store, Gary Vee is the same age as me, I think, is when he had his dad's wine store, Gary Vee just jumped on, he was, for whatever reason why he did it, he just really jumped on it. He was just really good at jumping on the opportunity. I can remember when the websites really became popular, and then when companies started back in 1995 or something like that, when companies started to have more websites, and that he jumped on it back in 1995. It's like, dude, our wine store has to have a website. Okay. Then when YouTube came around, he was right on YouTube making videos about wine. Now I don't even know how many videos he made, probably hundreds or thousands of videos online. Nobody knew who he was. Okay. He just had so much content out there. Basically, what happened, he did the same thing. He built the ecosystem. That's what he was doing. Okay. He's building the ecosystem behind the scenes. You can't see it, but he's building the ecosystem, because once you have one spark basically creates a forest fire. And that forest fire is what makes you explode overnight. That's the secret. You just keep on, you stand in the fire. You don't give up. You keep on making content. Since we're on YouTube, I keep on saying content. But that's what you keep on doing. You keep on making flipping content. You keep on doing it. Then you start building up the ecosystem, knowing, one of these days, something's going to go viral. It's either going to go viral, a million views, or it's going to go viral for your channel. Maybe you never had a video maybe you never even had a video come close to 100,000 views. Then one video hits 1,000 views in 1 week. Not 1,000 views, 100,000 views. I'm sorry about that. I'm talking about 100,000 views. Maybe you never had a video come even close to having 100,000 views. And it happens. That's kind of viral for your channel, and that's going to thrust you up to a different playing level. Okay, but that's going to do the same thing. Okay, you take the 1% ratio. Okay, 10% of 100,000, 10,000. That means overnight you have at least minimum of 1,000 subscribers out of a video doing 100,000 views. Okay, that means another 1%, 1,000 people are clicking, searching for you on YouTube, watching your binge watching other content, that will help thrust up other videos. Okay, then you have another thousand people, looking at your descriptions, clicking on your link, see what other stuff that you do, and that's going to bring in people wanting to be part of the tribe. Maybe they got something more serious. They want to work with you personally. Maybe they buy your books on Amazon, whatever. That's how it works. You want to build the ecosystem, bottom line. But other than that, tribe of YouTube fam, I think I talked long enough. This video is going to at least be 40 minutes long for our coffee talk. And but that's just kind of what my mind was thinking about today, besides like forcing it and trying to talk about something else. But if you have questions on this, comment below. I'm pretty good with answering comments. Of course, if you want to be part of the tribe, link is in the description. If you want to go deeper with this content, okay, if you need help with this, you can also contact me in the description as well. I'm really good with answering. I'm really on top of it when it comes to that stuff. A comment might slip through the cracks here and there on my YouTube studio, but I'm really good at kind of getting back with people and answering or just letting you know. So if you don't hear from me, if you make a comment, it really just means I didn't get it. or it got lost somewhere in the YouTube studio. So don't take it personal, whatever. Just comment again, and I'll probably get that one. But also remember, since this is a Sunday coffee talk, we always have the Super Thanks Spotlight. That again is where you leave a Super Thanks question, and that question will be featured. We'll talk about it in the next coffee talk. So that's what the whole coffee talk will be about, is answering your question, giving you guidance, whatever you want to know, whatever you want to go deeper on. But other than that, make sure you have tomorrow's Monday, so make sure you have a blessed week. You're gonna have a successful week. You have an awesome week. Go into your week believing this. Go into your week with power. Okay, go into your week that you live life on your terms. Go into your week with that attitude. You live life unapologetically on your terms. You live life authentically. Okay, go into your week thinking that. Okay, that's what we got to do. Okay, that's all in your mindset. It's all about living in the end, acting as if you already have what you want. That's a great secret to this. I know you hear this stuff over and over and over and over and over. You hear the same shit. You hear the same thing, but it's really the truth. Okay, but other than that, friends, love you guys, and I'll see you next Sunday.